A1, a violent vertical edge setter.
You competing today? I see some ass off the hips. Give that mic something to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drug. You're finished. Hey, first down. These are weird. They're worse than last time.
Well, let's see how this works. Now, I gotta tell you, I have no mic. I have no light. I'm using my phone flashlight, you see? Because I am stuck here at the Atlanta airport. So I don't know how the service is gonna go, guys. It might not work and we might just gotta bail on it. I wanted to say hello. Look at Paul. There he is. I was just thinking about you, Paul, not a minute ago, not 1 minute, maybe two at the most. So yeah, I'm here at the Atlanta airport, as you can see. There's no one in this area. I came over here because staff told me it was quieter. She's like, if you're going to sleep here, you might as well go to the quiet terminal. So I came all the way down here, and it was so quiet that I said, you know what I can do? Let me go say hello, because I got nothing to do. I'm just eating M&Ms, sitting at the airport. So we're on our way to the Super Bowl. Not the Super Bowl, the Senior Bowl. I still have Bell's palsy. It's very hard to eat. I got eating a burger. It's not easy. But yeah, I just wanted to say hello. Let's talk a little bit of Jets. Let's talk about what you guys want to see. What you guys want to see. I got to show you guys some cool interviews. Dom C is down there now, and he was able to interview quite a few people, man. Schmitz, Jamie Robinson, all kinds of guys. Really fun. I can't wait to see it. Let's say hello. Yeah. What is this? I don't know. It looks and sounds good, huh? Amazing. I spent the last 20 minutes trying to get a VPN and everything going. Weird configurations here, but yeah, Bismo's in the house, right? Squirmy Weasel, look at you guys. Ronald Perry's here. Sorry I wasn't able to make the panel tonight. I've been traveling for a long time. I've been driving and flying since literally 2:30. So what are you gonna do? That's right, Snowball. Kev Chad, is it humid? I don't know. I'm in the airport, buddy. I'm in Atlanta. So I'm not outside. I didn't leave or anything, Oh man, green and white. He says, I'd rather be there than driving home from a 17-hour plumbing shift. Geesh, buddy. I'm with you. Right, Paul? I love peanut M&Ms, man. I got to say, I like the pretzel. I like regular M&Ms, of course. I like the pretzel. I like the peanut butter. I like the crunch, the Rice Krispie kind of thing inside. But the only one that I've had since they started getting nuts with the M&Ms a couple of years ago that even compares with peanut is the brownie one. Have you had the brownie one? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I was blown away. Yeah, go ahead. Do it. Go ahead, man. Let's see what happens. Let's make this a fun night. Phenom, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Right, New York Jets fan 4. Who are you most excited about? Well, I gotta say, I want to look at the offensive linemen. That's really where I am. I want to look at the safeties. So I want to look at Kirkland. I want to look at Mouch. Obviously Schmitz. There's a few other guys on my list that I want to see. I want to see the defensive tackles. And we're looking at, I want to look at everybody, right? I want to look at the defensive backs, but specifically cornerbacks, right? I'm sorry, specifically safeties. And I'm not just exclusively looking for the free safeties. I'm looking, I don't know what we're going to do this offseason, man. We might just get rid of Whitehead. Think about if you can get Von Bell for $10 million and you save $7 cutting Whitehead. Doesn't that seem like it's like you're improving? In my opinion, it's an upgrade to Von Bell, and then and then I don't know. You might spend in 3 million. So there's lots of guys, but so let's see: Schmitz, Mouch, Kirkland. I want to see a couple linebackers: Sewell, Toe. Forget how to say it, but a couple linebackers I really want to see. Um, I'm so excited. Like I can't even tell you, man. Like I mean, Dom was interviewing guys today, and he sent me some of the interviews, just clips, and just watching them. I was like, ooh, I got all like, that's really Dom. You know what I mean? Dom's just hanging out with these guys. Now Dom saw Phil Savage down there today. He didn't get to talk to him, but if I see any Jet staff, I'm making a beeline, dude. That's it. So definitely 100% want to try to talk to them. It's like, why'd you fire LaFleur, man? I love him. That's what I want to do. Paul says, so give us the update when you get out there. Oh, my flight is supposed to leave at 8:20 a.m. in the morning. So, and it's an hour and a half flight or so. Then I have an hour drive. So, I'm going to get there probably 11, like right before the morning practice, hopefully. So Dom's got my credentials. So, hey, great. John says he's picking up 6-year-old Levi from the. What's up, man? We haven't talked to Levi. 3 p.m. down there. Wow, man. That's so cool. Almond M&Ms. Yeah. I don't know if I've had the almond. I know I love the peanut. I'm eating too many. Like they're starting to not taste good. You know what happens? Payday is fantastic. I'm with you. What's up, Kev? Hey, the Jets. What's up, Mr. Show? We love you too. Speedy recovery. Thank you. You see my face? I can't. Like I'll smile. See that? I'm trying to lift my eyebrows. Just can't do it. It's a very strange sensation. I made I made the mistake of ordering a cheeseburger, a big one with avocado and bacon and tomatoes and lettuce and onions and all this stuff. Big mistake because I can't open my mouth, so I was having to it was a mess. I regretted it. 2 bites in, I'm like, this was a big mistake. That's him, Chigo. Right. How do you say it though? Say it out loud. I'll just every time it's like I do this every year. There's always guys, right? Like we were talking about last night. Tigo was on the draft, the mock last night, and whenever I talk about, every year we were saying like the names get more and more difficult. I still think the most difficult one was IK, his full name though, IK and Kampali. When I first saw that, I didn't know what that was. I had no idea where to begin. But it's like I can hear the name. It's like Oboye this year. Like I know I would look at it. I'd find something that tells me how to say it. I'd go, okay, that's how to say it. I'd turn around 5 minutes later and I'd say it wrong. Sometimes it's just tough. I think so too, Kevin. Imagine we just go grab them. Do you guys remember years ago? Some of you my age types of fans. There was a time, guys, when the Kansas City Chiefs literally went to the New York Jets and signed our safety Brian Washington, our other safety Ronnie Lott, and our amazing cornerback, very forgotten man, one of the best we've ever had, James Hasty. They just took our whole backfield and brought them over there to KC, and they played for like 4 more years, 4 more years together. Crazy. Did you guys see the interviews? Did he show you? I didn't see it. I haven't. I'm kind of out of sorts. I know he sent it to me, but I haven't seen him yet. I mean, I don't know what he put out yet. So that's super cool. Let me tell you something, JE. I would love that. Let me tell you something. If we signed Derek Carr and Minshew as a backup, like let the Mike White. I mean, look, I love Mike White. I'm I believe that he's a good player, and I think it's a good story, and I was rooting for him. But dude, the guy, he's been injured like the entire time. Now I know it's like always different injuries and weird circumstances. I get it, but the taking chances thing, man, it's just like you go get Derek Carr and you upgrade that. Then you go get Gardner Minshew and you upgrade the back. So if he goes down, if Derek Carr goes down, you got a guy who can come in and legitimately play. And then you got Zach on the bench, ruin. I think that would be fantastic. I would love it. Why am I sleeping in an airport, Snowball? Because when I was about to land, I got a text. I flew from Richmond to Atlanta, and as I was landing, I got a text that said your flight is delayed till tomorrow. It was supposed to be, I think I was leaving here at 10:17 or something like that. I was going to leave here and head to, I'm going to Pensacola first. But yeah, so I talked to I said, hey, what can I do? Can we get another flight? Can I get the fuck out of here? And I said, okay, well, what about a room? And they said, literally, this is what they said. I mean, the whole, just the world is so different for me. Like, I haven't flown since March of 2020, like right before the pandemic. I was in Palm Springs at an interventionist training. I don't know if you guys know that, but I was an interventionist for years. But in Palm Springs, and I remember like when I was there, they had the first COVID cases, so it was like not real big yet. But I haven't flown, and that was my last time flying in a plane. I used to fly literally every week for years, every week. Or at least once or twice a month, even when it wasn't every week. So, but I'm really out of sorts. But back then, if my plane got delayed, like for a day, without question, they gave you an airport, they gave you a meal voucher, and they took you to the. I'm sorry, they gave you a hotel room. I mean, sorry, they'd give you the hotel voucher, they'd give you a meal voucher, and they'd drive you to the hotel and pick you up in the morning and bring you back. That's the way it was. I've had that happen 2-3 times. This time, they literally said to me, well, it's weather, so we can't control the weather, so it's not on us. That's literally what I was like, what? What is that? I said, you guys don't put me up in a room? And she said, they can give you a discounted rate at hotels or roomstorm.com. I'm like, Roomstorm? So I looked, it was like 20% off or something. So I was like, what, I'm going to do all this, go through the headache of security, everything else, just so I can get 5 hours in a bed? Like, I'll just fucking stay right here. It is what it is. But that's why, buddy. I need to shave. Well, what would I be doing if I shave? Then who am I, buddy? Then what do? I got to change my logo. Yeah, it's a funny thing. See, let me ask you something, Jason. Why do we get to this point, right? And I'm being as sincere as I can be. Because you prefer Rodgers as the quarterback, right? You'd like to see the Jets go get Rodgers. Great. Why does it then have to be that Derek Carr sucks and the people that want him are losers? Like, why does it have to go all the way over there? Why can't it just be like Derek Carr is an obvious improvement than anything we've had here, barring 2 years of Chad, the 1 year with Fitzpatrick, obviously the Vinny year, you know what I mean? Like, we've had a smattering here and there, but Derek Carr's career is better than any quarterback that we've ever had. Since name it. So, but I don't like him. It's like he's an improvement, but I would prefer Rodgers. Like, why I'm being sincere. Like, why does it? I get that all the time on like Twitter and stuff. Like, there are people that are literally saying Rodgers is a fucking scrub. He's a choker. I don't want, and they're Derek Carr. And then there's Jimmy G guys, and they're like, fucking Carr and Rodgers are losers. Then you got the guy Jimmy G sucked. Like, what? All three of those guys would be a vast improvement. All three of them, without question. There's no debate. Right? Jimmy G has a concern. He's never fucking healthy. He's only played one full season in his whole career. One. Derek Carr has a couple knocks on him. They say that the cold weather thing is one, that he's got a ceiling. Yeah, 4,000 yard a year ceiling. You know what I mean? And obviously, Aaron Rodgers he's been one of the best in the league, but he's only got one Super Bowl ring. You know what I mean? So there's that. And then obviously his age, right? And then there's the price. Jimmy G is super. He's not. You don't have to give any picks for him. So there's that. But you know what I mean? Like all three of those guys would literally be the best quarterback we've had here, potentially ever. So I'm serious. And I mean that. Like, Jason, I'm very curious. Like, what is it? You know what I mean? I'm so curious with that. Why does it have to be losers? You know? So what? You prefer this guy. I prefer this guy. One of us doesn't have to be a loser by default. Jets show checking back in, buddy. GreenBean, if we solidify the O-line in the offseason and we retain our first round pick, would you draft safety Brian Branch? He's a stud. Well, the short answer is absolutely. I would. I have no problem taking a safety in the first. None. And he can play, he plays all over the place. And he's a monster. But the thing is, I do value some other positions more right now, like namely offensive line, right? I really want to tackle. But at 13, like just taking a first round tackle, like there are people locked in. Tackle. It's got to be a tackle. But if Skronsky and Paris, let's say those are your two guys and they're gone. There's many people that look at Broderick Jones as a significant step down, guys. Right now, got the combine, you have all kinds of shit. Everybody's going to up and down, right? We know that. But if the Jets don't maybe they have one tackle with that top 15 grade, and then the next guy is second round to them. Just taking a tackle to take it for a position, that's what we call reaching, right? You don't want to reach for need. It's the worst thing you can do. Reach for need, because then you're taking lesser caliber talent for the need. So let's say they have Skronsky as the only guy that they would take in the first with that to tackle, and he's gone. They try to trade back. If they get back into the mid-20s, then they're okay. But they have other guys that are rated in the top 10, the top 5. Branch, maybe obviously Carter, you know what I mean? But like all these other guys, depending on the position. And they're sitting there. So we need a safety. We need, in my opinion, we need a defensive tackle. Depending on what happens with Quan Alexander and Quincy Williams, we might need a linebacker, right? We could definitely use a guard as well, center. So there's all that kind of stuff. Well, let's say the tackle's gone and Brian Branch is sitting there. Hell yeah. And then you just get the tackle with your next pick. So that's the way I see that. And we see it all the time. And the Jets years ago were notorious for reaching for need. And then they would reach for a need that wasn't even the need that we needed. That's how bad it was. Right? J-Man Hop. That's really funny. I like that. Unfortunately, we are the losers, man. I know, right? Yeah, okay, Jason. So I didn't like Carr before the Rodgers talk. That's good. Yeah, well, see, but that's a silly reason not to like anybody. I hear you. Let me tell you, I'll be real honest with you, Jason. When Derek Carr came out, my view was exactly the same. I would never even take him because of his brother was such a flop. And don't forget, his brother had a real rough go, man, in Texas, in Houston. You can't sugarcoat that. But I felt the same way. It wasn't until like 4 years into his career, maybe 3, I started going, maybe this guy's not half bad. And then every year, 4,000 yards. Then they take Amari Cooper and they trade his offensive line. And then he comes back and it's 4,200 yards. Then the defense is last in the league or last, and they got no fucking receiver. Everybody's hurt, and he throws for 3,900. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, in my opinion, it's real important. I mean, none of this is really important. You do know that, right? Like, none of this shit that we're talking about is really important. But we like it, so it is. You see what I'm saying? I want to make sure I compartmentalize this correctly, categorize it in its proper place. But it's important because we love it. So, with that being said, if I'm gonna, it's really important to be able to adjust my opinions when things change or something becomes I become aware of something that I wasn't aware of before. So like that's a great example. I didn't like David Carr. I was like, Derek Carr's, he's his little brother, is going to be a scrub. But then years go by and he's consistently in the top 10 of the league, consistently. With so many different casts of characters, weak offensive lines, rotating door at the weapons. Again, never higher than 20th defense to help him out. 4 head coaches, 5 offensive coordinators, and he stole 4,000 yards a year. Like, he's not the issue. He's doing his job. He's doing his part. Dude, the Raiders lost. Listen, the Raiders were 3-5 this year in games that they were leading by 2 touchdowns. They lost 5 games that they were up by 14 points. What does that tell you? It's the same. It's the opposite of what we dealt with. You got our defense holding teams to fucking 7 points, 3 in some instances. Start yelling. I just heard my voice echo. And we lose. You see what I mean? Green White says he wants it. That's the thing, dude. I get it. Let me be real. I go back and forth. I really do. I would be happy with either. But I gotta say honestly, Carr, to me, it's very specific. Jimmy G is the cheapest as far as what you have to give. You don't have to give anything away. You just got to pay him. And you could maybe get him some sort of incentive-laden contract for injury protections. Who knows? That would be good. But if you want to keep all your capital, 2 firsts or whatever, then yeah, maybe you go to Jimmy G. And you just really protect him. You know what I mean? Everything to protect him. Derek Carr more than likely will be cheaper because of the time press, right? And the non-trade clause. And there's a lot of pieces in there that make it so the Raiders won't be able to squeeze it for everything it's worth. But he's more of a long-term commitment. He's 5, 7, 10 years, man. That's what he can be here for that long. And then what does that do to the whole Zach plan and everything else? But Aaron Rodgers is probably the most bang immediately, in my opinion. He's going to come here for 2 or 3 years, and he could potentially he's going to Tom Brady to the Bucs thing to us. He can give us a Super Bowl late in the playoffs, and we, all that sort of stuff, and just whatever happens, happens. But we're competitive. We're among the best teams in the league, and we're rocking. He's going to do that. But then we have to know that in 2 or 3 years, he's gone, most likely. It's going to be 43. Well, how old is he now? I forget. I forget. But that's the whole thing. You know what I mean? You got to look at that. It's like, where is, it's like, where is it? Where is your value? Now, to me, like, I don't know if you guys saw, if you saw my most recent podcast where I talk about the quarterbacks. But the intelligent gripe was literally about the idea that if, let's say, all right, so you talk to the Raiders and you talk to the Packers, and the Packers are like, hey, man, we got a deal. We're good. It's a little handshake. Aaron Rodgers, he's in. But you talk to the Raiders and you can get Derek Carr for a 2nd and a 5th, and he's in. And you can talk to him a full, month before you can legally talk to Aaron Rodgers. It is my opinion that even though Aaron Rodgers said he's in and the Packers said we're in, that handshake deal that cannot be, written in stone, anything can happen in that month. Anything. He could decide, you know what, on second thought, I'm going to go open a surf shop in fucking Cozumel. He could do that. And then so if you have the opportunity to get there, if it's all done, and all you got to do is sign the paperwork, it's my opinion that you would have to seriously consider doing that and just putting the Aaron Rodgers thing on. Say, we had another great option. We chose this one. I'm telling you, I probably would do it because a bird in the hand, dude. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Why not, Kev? Well, see, like, this is the thing. I wouldn't be into mock drafts in this scenario. It's like when we talked about last night. Like, you can't really do a mock before free agency. Frankie would do that every time. We'd talk to Frankie and he'd go, I can't really do it because I don't know free agency. But you got to look at it through a different lens. This is how it is. I hope this helps you. The mocks right now are an attempt at learning more about the players and what sort of needs other teams might have. And because there's a lot to this. It's not just like people do these mocks and they go, look, I crushed it. And it's like, yeah, that's great. But what happened here? What happened here? What if this happened? And what if it? So it's like, that's why, like with the Monday Night Mock, I like to explore all these scenarios because, like, what happens? Like a couple years ago, there was the CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Mekhi Becton, Tristan Wirfs, all that tackle versus wide receiver debate. And the mocks that I was doing is such a great example because tackle was our number one need and followed by wide receiver. But we needed a tackle. We had no offensive line. McCagnon left the cupboards bare, and we needed it. And it happened to be a very strong tackle class. So when you do your mocks, if you took a tackle, you would see 9 times out of 10, a really nice group of wide receivers made it to, I think we were at 43 that year, 47, I think, in the second round. So a nice bunch of receivers. The Denzel Mims, Laviska Shenaults, Van Jeffersons, all those guys would make it to that back end second round pick. When you took a wide receiver up at 11, so let's say you grab CeeDee Lamb. So you get CeeDee Lamb. But then when you get to the second round, 6 tackles are gone and you're literally getting 2 tiers lower of a tackle prospect. So that's the kind of things that you have to try to figure out, and again, we have no control. So it's just for fun for us. But my whole thing is trying to learn. Like, I don't go into this pretending to know everything every year. I learn. I learn every year. I have my system. I have my databases that I like. You know what I mean? I like to look at certain sites that I appreciate how they do things. I start with highlights always. Then I watch game film if I can. I love when I really like a player, I love to watch other people break down the game film. So I already know what I think, and then I watch guys and see if it corroborates or if they show me anything that I didn't know or whatever. You know what I mean? That's my system. Now, I'm not a professional scout or anything. It's just what I do. But by the time that free agency comes around, I'm fucking rocking, man. I know these guys. Like, in some instances when I really like guys, I have watched every snap of their college career. You know what I mean? I stay up till 3 a.m. just watching games. And so anyway, when you look at it like that, like, yes, it's very tough. But now what we do now, Kev, is we look and see who does what to who, where, and who's this, and how does he fare against that. This is the time to learn that. So when we do have a quarterback, and when we do get past free agency, we know what the fuck we're talking about. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Then those mocks are legit, man. Then you start saying, okay, this is my official mock. Right, AC? Did I say that? The need that we needed. Dude, I'll tell you. I was watching a I was watching a Twitter conversation earlier. I'm on the plane and I'm doing everything. And I was just observing this conversation. I'm watching these 2 or 3 or 4 guys argue about Joe Douglas. And they're talking about why 2 guys were talking about why Jets fans that support him are a bunch of homers, right? You're willing to overlook how fucking terrible he is at this and this and whiff and that and all that, you know? The thing is that they have points, right? Those points are valid. But what they're excluding is all the things that happened prior to Joe Douglas getting here and what he had to undo before he could accomplish anything. Joe Douglas quite literally took 3 years of the previous regime's mistakes. Rather than just getting them cutting, he had to cut some, Le'Veon Bell, Tremaine Johnson, but he took 3 years of the previous regime's mistakes, 4 years in some cases, and turned them into an additional draft class. Extra firsts, extra seconds, thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths. He made 7ths into 5ths and 6ths into 3rds. And he literally did that. And then he turns around and he has a bad 2020 draft. Maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe Becton comes out and he did a great career from here. That changes things, right? But as it stands right now, it looks like a relatively weak draft class. But okay, so it's his first draft class ever. You got the COVID thing. They weren't even able to medically test people, all this kinds of shit, remember? It's his first ever draft, and he's at home with his kids. He can't even sit with guys. They weren't able to test anybody and meet them and all this kinds of stuff. So, you know, it's different. It's one thing, like if you got a GM who's been doing this for 6 years and he hits the COVID year, it's different. That was his first year. But even without COVID, he has a rough year. So what? He follows that with 2021. Now, he looks like he whiffed on his quarterback. But, dude, there are hits all throughout that draft. It's like it's up to that point. Try to find me, from 2007 to the 2021 draft, you try to find me a stronger draft. Where is it? 2006, 2007? Sure. That's one of the strongest drafts. And those guys are still, we just saw their second year, man. Jamie and Sherwood, Brandon Eccles, all those fucking guys. You got to understand, these are late round picks. Michael Carter II. These guys are already contributing. And if it's not special teams, in some instances it's starting. But you got to give those guys a minute. Like if they're not, all pros, oh, that fucking sucks. Like that's one of the best drafts we've had ever since 2007. I think it might be the best draft since 2007. Maybe not. Maybe there's another one in there somewhere. But off the top of my head. Then you follow that with this year's draft. Dude, we already have offensive and defensive rookie of the year. We have the rookie of the year. We have a first-team All-Pro. And, you look at Max Mitchell, Michael Clemens, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall. Dude, if he didn't get fucking injured, are you kidding me? So, you have to let the engines, you got to let the car get moving, man. Before you start, he sucks and you're a homer if you don't. I don't understand. I don't even get it. Now, I understand being able to point out flaws, sure. So I didn't like this. If he would have hit on Zach, where this conversation is, that's the big one. It really is. That's the big one. So anyway, I understand. That's the thing. When I was talking with Jason Radcliffe before, I understand being on Team Rodgers. I get it. I'm there 40% of the time. I live there. You know what I mean? So I understand it. But just because somebody's on Team Car doesn't mean they suck. And like, when, dude, I want to tell everybody, look, there's 120 of you in here right now, right? All 120 of you. Take a minute and compare Robert Saleh's first 2 years to Zach Taylor's first 2 years. Please tell me if Jets fans would have been calling for Zach Taylor's head after year 2. You tell me. Be honest. What's up, man?
Yeah.
You with me?
I'm a Jets fan.
Are you really?
Yes, I am.
Get out of here. That's why I'm like live. I do Jet shit. Hey. All right, my name's GreenBean, man. I'm live right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Is it at the whole airport? There's nobody here. The guy sitting next to me is a Jets fan. Isn't that crazy? How fucking awesome is that? It's the craziest thing. So yeah, man, like go back and look at Zach Taylor. If everything was the same, and you took Zach Taylor and put him in this spot, everything was the same. Joe Burrow got his knee ripped off. They don't have any offensive line. You know what I mean? He had 2 wins and then 4 wins. Robert Saleh had more wins in his second year than Zach Taylor did in his first 2. Yet we want to say he sucks. Again, we had the number, what was it, the 28 defense? So 32, 31st or 32nd defense last year. We're in the top 5 this year. Top 5, man. We lost 6 one-score games. 6. Like, the idea that something's wrong. Look, the collapse was horrible, no doubt. But the idea that we're not going in the right direction is crazy. It's nuts to me. Like, you can say, okay, well, I don't like this, and I think you should have did this, and this sucks, of course. But coming to the conclusion that Joe Douglas sucks, I don't understand. Especially, were you not paying attention for the past 40 years? I can't swish water in my mouth with this face thing. All right, so what else we got here? Okay, let's see. Balls be hurting. What do you got? Hennessy. Okay, that's a different thing. Okay, hey, Rusty Spooner, what's up, buddy? Hey, GreenBean, I hope you and Dom are having a great time. Did you see linebacker Muhammad Diabate from Utah there? If so, how'd he look? Well, here's the thing. You must be just jumping on, Rusty. I'm actually stuck in the Atlanta airport tonight. So Dom's down there now. He got some interviews. I don't know if you saw him, but he got to Mobile last night, and I should have been there now, but I'm not going to be there till tomorrow. My flight leaves at like 8, I think 8:15, 8:30, something like that. And then I'll probably be there around 11. The practices start at 11. And so, yeah, I'm going to look at all kinds of guys. Dom, did Dom put anything on Twitter? Do you guys know? Did he put any of the interviews on Twitter? I don't want to blow his spot. Let me see here real fast. Let me see. Let me see what Dom sent. I don't think he did. So maybe I'll show you guys something. How's that sound? Okay. I'll show you one thing. I hope Dom's not mad. I know you want to get some stuff. Oh, there. How's the broadcast? Do I have good enough service? Is it okay? No, Jets mess. Thank you. I don't need any money, buddy. It's just there's nothing I can do. I can't get out of here. I just have to wait. I'm fine. I appreciate that. Let me see here. So Dom, let me send this I'll send you guys here.
Chamber Robinson here, safety, Florida State. Dominic Hood.
Hold on. Boop, dude. All right. Now, You got to remember, our boy Dom, this is his first time doing it. He's excited, right? He's excited, man. So let me just see if I can get this for you guys. This is Jamie Robinson. So he got to spend some time with him today. Dom has a great question. He's asking guys, what do they know about New Jersey and New York? All right, hold on. Let me share this with you guys. Okay, here, you guys ready? Let me see. So this is Dom interviewing guys at the Senior Bowl. All right, here you go.
Jamie Robinson here, safety, Florida State. Dominic Kuchar, I'm from GreenBean Jetsfan.com, New Jersey Jets content creator.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you
Great
doing?
practice. I'm well.
I appreciate it.
No problem. What do you think what do you think you fit best scheme wise? You like playing back in the free? You like playing up in the box?
Honestly, I'm a football guy, so it really doesn't matter.
Okay.
Honestly, like scheme wise, if I'm closer to the ball at nickel, I can be able to blitz a lot. You know what I'm saying? Being able to cover in the slot. When I'm at safety, being able to be in the middle of the field. You know, if it's a split safety call, being able to tackle the run for at least 4 yards, being able to fit like that. So, you know what I'm saying? I just pride myself on being versatile, you know, and then just being able to fly around every play and get my 100% every play.
Well, you showed that this year during the season for sure. What's one thing that that scouts and the NFL coaches are going to see from you during this game, during this week?
Just a player that's coachable, you know, a player that's going to fly around and give them a all.
Okay,
So,
great. What do you know about New Jersey? Because the Jets would love you, man.
I don't know. I don't really know too much about New York, but, you know, it's worth it to find out. You know, I'll find out, but I haven't really, you know, I'm from South Georgia, so like, I really haven't just.
You okay with the cold?
Oh,
We're going to need you up there in green,
it.
man.
Yeah, I'm fine with it, for sure.
Hey, I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good luck, okay?
Yes, appreciate that.
What do you think of that? See that? We're all legit. See that? We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. I tell you, I applied for the combine. I'm trying to get into the combine. I get in the combine, it's on like Donkey Kong, man. Senior Bowl's fun, but the combine, oh boy. So Paris says the 1977 draft was great. Marvin Powell, Wesley Walker, Joe Klecko. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a long time ago, though. And we had some other good ones. I mean, 2000 is a good draft class, but, you know, that was obviously helped by 4 first-round picks. We lost a lot to get those picks, man. You know what I mean? So we had our own pick, but we lost the head coach, Bill Belichick, for 1 pick, and the 3rd, I think it was. And then we lost Keyshawn Johnson for the other 2 firsts. So we lost a lot to get those firsts. Now, we got Sean Ellis, John Abraham, Chad Pennington, and Anthony Beck. All players were great, really. I mean, Anthony Beck wasn't great, but he was very solid. The other 3 were great for us. Chad just had the injury thing, but he was great. And then you had Lavernius Coles in the 3rd. The rest of the draft is nothing to write home about at all. They're all, you know, nothing. But other than that, like, again, you got the 2006 draft was fantastic. 2007 draft, that's Revis, Harris, Coleman, I think Leon Washington, all those guys came in. That was a fucking slam dunk draft. Slam dunk. But then you got 2008. Who was that? Let me see. Let me see here. All right, let's take a look at the drafts. We can do this too. We're going to take a look. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a look, and we're going to see which draft compares with what Joe Douglas has done. Okay? That's what we're going to do. You guys ready for this? All right, here we go. So, okay, this is our all right, guys, this is the 2008 draft. Now, I can show you 2006 and 7 too, but they were great. 2006 and 7 were very strong. But this is Mangini's last draft. So we get the Ghost, right? Vernon Golston, one of the biggest whiffs ever. Such a shame. If we didn't win that last game of the year, we would have been right here. Remember that? We would have had Chris Long. He was much better. Anyway, so we got Vernon Golston. But the good news is with the Jets, we actually traded back in to the first here, I believe, right? Look, Dwayne Brown, there he is. So look, we traded back into the last pick in the first round, and we got Dustin Keller. He was very, very good for us. I like Dustin Keller a whole bunch. So Dustin Keller is good, not great, but very, very good. And we had a huge whiff with Vernon Golston. So then you have, where's the Jets? Did I miss it? Sorry. Giants. Okay. So Jets. Where are we? So you probably don't have one because of all the trading that we did here. Yep. So we didn't have a second because we traded. So that's already a knock. So we used our picks to go up. So all we got was so far is Dustin Keller and Vernon Golston. Wow, we're all the way in the fourth, and we got Dwight Lowry. Now, Dwight Lowry was pretty good. Very solid player, never great. He had some really great games. Remember, he picked off Brett Favre on Monday Night Football when he went to the Vikings. Probably his career highlight. But he ended up playing safety for us, and he was good. Never great, but a good player. Good fourth-round pick. Let's see what else we got here. Where was it? Okay, so there's New York Jets. Let's see what we got here. Where's the Jets? Then we got a quarterback, Eric Ainge. Ended up having a bunch of substance abuse problems and all that. Eric Ainge was the replacement for Peyton Manning in Tennessee, if I remember correctly. He's the guy who replaced Peyton Manning. Not as good. Didn't do as well. He was okay. Then we got wide receiver Marcus Henry. He was a complete bust. Not a bust because he was a sixth-round pick, but he didn't do anything. Whoops. Let's see what else we got here. Nate Garner. I feel like I remember him doing something, but not much, right? Not much. So, okay, it's about it. Yep. So, now let me just ask you, is that as good as the 2021 draft? Was that one as good? Right? So now we'll go back. I'm going to show you 2007. Okay, 2007 is fun to look at. All right, 2007. Okay. All right, sorry. All right. Jamarcus Russell up top. So the Jets, we traded up too. So we got Darrelle Revis in the first round for number 14. Let's see what else we did. That was obviously a very, very good pick. I think we gave up a second and some change for that, for the right to move up. So then we grabbed David Harris with our second. Pretty damn good, right? Not a bad draft so far, boys and girls. Let's see. So now look, these are the picks that we gave up, right? We don't got anything. Now this was a Tannenbaum special, man. That's what he did. He liked to trade everything away. Bang for the buck. Trader Mike. Damn. I thought we had more. Jacob Bender. Look, Nick Folk. Look at that. Maybe that was it. I thought we had it. Maybe it was 2006 where we had Leon Washington, everybody. Maybe. I'm mixing it up a little bit. Yeah, man. Holy shit. Chancey Stuckey, he was good. He ended up being part of the trade for Braylon Edwards. Yeah. So, all right. 4-man draft. 3 of them were contributors, and obviously Revis and Harris were studs for us. But let's look at the 09 draft. You guys know which one this one is, right? So this is the one. This is Rex's first year. The Jets come in and they trade up. We grab Mark Sanchez. All right? Watch this. It's going to blow your mind. Watch how many picks we have. So we draft Mark Sanchez. We don't have a second. All right? Let's see. I'm tired of fucking scrolling. All right. This is our whole draft class, everybody. Okay. Imagine we're doing the stream, right? We're over at Ryan's Jets Talk 24/7, me and O'Leary and Ryan and everybody. And this is what we do. And not for nothing. So we traded up for Mark Sanchez. Fine. I didn't like it. Honest to God, I was not a Sanchez guy in that draft. I didn't like it. I was perfectly content waiting until 17 and taking the other guy. What the hell was his name again? Remember him? He ended up being really good, and then he literally broke down mentally. Remember that? He just degraded like over a 1-year time, was out of the league. Crazy. Josh Freeman. I was perfectly content sitting at 17 and just taking Josh Freeman. But anyway, so Mark Sanchez, then we traded up for Sean Green, which I thought was stupid too. I was like, what? No, I wasn't as into the draft then as I am now, but I was like, why are we trading up again? And then we took Matt Slauson, which was a great pick. So it's a strong draft. At least it's mediocre, but yeah. So this one isn't as good either, right? Let's do 2010, right? Let's do that. Why not? The 2010 draft for the New York Jets. Okay. So here we go. We got cornerback Kyle Wilson. Remember what he's famous for? Rusty Spooner. What's he famous for? Remember? Kev. Balls me hurting. What do you guys remember about Kyle Wilson? Remember? He couldn't turn his head around. That was his big, he couldn't do it, dude. He got more pass interference penalties. He just couldn't. I mean, think about it. He was supposed to fit right in there. We had Revis and Cromartie. Kyle Wilson was supposed to make it so nobody could catch a single pass on our defense. Look, and they gave it an A. He's amazing. Incredible value. Nope, didn't work. He wasn't terrible, but he never panned out. He was very. Then we got Vladimir Dukas, who was arguably a 5th-round pick, they were saying. He had the talent, but he was going to take 2 or 3 years to be ready. The Jets drafted him and cut Alan Faneca, Hall of Famer Alan Faneca, the next day. Then we got Joe McKnight, who was an interesting pick. I forget who I wanted there. Or somebody else. I forget. But anyway, we drafted him because Leon Washington blew out his knee the year before, and the Jets decided to scrap him. Remember that? We traded him to Seattle. But Joe McKnight, former teammate of Mark Sanchez, actually never worked out as a running back, but was a good, very good return man. I think he made it to be a Pro Bowl. God rest his soul. He passed away very young. Then you got famously Rex Ryan's hand-picked fullback, John Connor, famous for that one preseason hit on the kickoff. Remember that? He spun the guy in the air. So anyway, he was nothing. So they give an overall B. So here we look. We got Kyle Wilson, mediocre at best. I mean, honest to God, Brandon Echols is performing better than Kyle Wilson, without question. Okay? Bryce Hall, significantly better than Kyle Wilson. Vladimir Dukas, bust. He ended up having a mildly successful career, played for Buffalo, I think the Vikings too. So he got himself a career, but as far as us and our second round pick, bust. Joe McKnight, okay, you could say he was a contributor. John Connor, he was out of the league in 3 years. He was off the Jets in 2. Yep, and that's it. So is that as good as 2021? Let's look at the 11 draft. This one was terrible. I don't even remember what this one was. Oh, yeah, this wasn't terrible, but so do you see it, guys? Like, this is the thing, like, what's this, John? You're going to betting? Yeah, I will. Done. You got it, AC. Yeah, Kev, you know, I mean, look, we talked about it, right? You know it. I was on the 100% on the trade back train. I really was. When the Dolphins got all that from the Niners, I was brokenhearted. I was brokenhearted. 3 firsts and a third. I couldn't believe it. I was fucking gut-wrenched. But, all right. And then, like you said, you still could have got Fields. And I liked Fields. I didn't love him, just like I didn't love Zach, but I liked Fields. But, guys, I was perfectly content taking Mac Jones back. If I traded back and got 3 firsts and a third, I'd be happy taking Mac Jones at 15 or wherever I was. Even Kyle Trask I would have taken. I would have taken him too. I was fine with that. But they were all raw. If they're all raw, bring somebody in. All right, so the 2011 draft class. What do we got here? This is pretty good. We got Muhammad Wilkerson. Now, look, he ended up being a complete asshole and a complete scrub. But that first 4 years, he was very good. Very good for us. 5 years, maybe. It says 8 years. I don't remember it being that long. He played for Green Bay for 2 years or whatever it was, too. But then Kenrick Ellis, I had so much faith. I had so much hope for that guy. Never really worked out. Never really worked out. But I liked the pick. I really did. But he didn't work out. Bilal Powell, as we know, was a fantastic pick. Jeremy Curley was another fantastic pick. For whatever reason, in the very similar way that Mike LaFleur came in here and didn't like Denzel Mims, Todd Bowles came in here and didn't like Jeremy Curley. Didn't like him. Jeremy Curley was the best wide receiver on the Jets for 5 years or whatever it was. 4 years. Todd Bowles came in and literally just did, you know, he put him on the practice squad. It was like terrible. I couldn't understand it. Then they were forced, they actually cut him. They were forced to re-sign him the next year because of injuries and everything else. And he was the best wide receiver on the Jets even then. Even then. I don't know what it was. They did not like him. Greg McElroy, big ballyhooed quarterback. You know, hey, had some real shot. Didn't do anything. And Scotty McKnight, you remember what he's famous for, guys? He's famous for being the draft pick where Rex Ryan wanted Mark Sanchez's very good friend to get it was considered a nice token move for Mark Sanchez because it was his buddy. And he wasn't on the team. Look, he did nothing. He didn't even play for a year. Nothing. He did nothing. But yet we still threw a 7th round pick at him. Like it's the mentality, guys. It's a fucking 7th round pick. Who cares? That's the way they look at it. Where Joe Douglas is finding guys like Bam Knight and Bryce Huff, you know, and even like Lamar Jackson, who's still on a team. And then in the 6th round, you know, Jonathan Marshall and all those guys. Brandon Echols was a 6th. Like, we're finding contributors and even potential starters. And Rex Ryan and Tannenbaum, they're throwing them away for Scotty McKnight. Look, I love Rex. I'm just saying. Like, we have to keep things where they are. Like, if we're honest with everything, the good and the bad, then you could actually see the real picture. I don't know. What's the 2012 draft? Anybody remember? I don't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's see who it is. Oh my God, we didn't have a first. Why didn't we have a first? What happened here? I don't remember. This feels like a weird 40 turns, coaching changes. Ricky Sapp, remember him? Look at all these moves. Holy shit. Oh no, look, we did. Okay, the draft class. Here it is. This is a big one. Quentin Coples. We took him over some really nice players too. I forget who it was. Silly pick. Probably 30 teams in the NFL knew Quentin Coples was never going to be a first-round pick. He had all the talent in the world, big, strong, fast, everything. But he was lazy. He would play when he wanted to play, and then when he didn't, he just didn't play. People back then, there were teams calling him undraftable. They don't even want to bring him on the team. He's just not going to do it. Rex Ryan took him in the first round. Now, I know we say Tannenbaum, but I'm just telling you, Rex makes the picks. Tannenbaum had final say, but Tannenbaum deferred to Rex. Stephen Hill, we know about him. Another one. It's another one. It's like people like to compare Denzel Mims to Stephen Hill. It's ridiculous. Stephen Hill's entire college career is less than one Denzel Mims college season. One. So, Stephen Hill was coming in purely on athleticism. He had 40 catches his whole career or something like that. Demario Davis, great pick. We let him go, traded for him to get him back, and then let him go again, and he's an all-pro. How smart are we? Josh Bush. So anyway, but these are good picks. I mean, Stephen Hill, not so much. But you can understand taking the shot on him. Well, Quentin Cople's not a good pick either. These are very bad, actually. Demario Davis is a very strong pick, though. So look, then we traded this for Tim. So this. Remember that? Remember when Tannenbaum, he did that interview and they said, well, your draft class is kind of weak. And he said, well, don't forget, we got Tim Tebow for a fourth. So he said, I think anybody would say that he's worth more than a fourth. I don't know. He was with us for 1 year, so you tell me. And it was a miserable year. So this one we traded to the Seahawks for draft pick round 243. Okay. So then we got Josh Bush, a safety, Terrence Ganaway, a running back, comp picks. Robert Griffin, I don't remember him. Antonio Allen we liked. We liked Antonio Allen. He had a shot. So look at this, guys. Just look at this. Remember, I call this the worst offseason in Jets history. So look at this, guys. We lost these free agents. Braylon Edwards, Drew Coleman, remember, cornerback. Punter Steve Weatherford ended up being a Pro Bowl punter and all that for the Giants. Sean Ellis, one of the best Jets of all time. And Brad Smith, a jack of all trades, vital to the success of who we were. Kick returner, wildcat guy, amazing. We lost those guys, and this is who we got. Jordan White, Antonio Allen, who was nice. He had a shot, but nothing, ultimately. Robert Griffin and Terrence Ganaway. That's what we did. Do you understand how fucking bad it can get? And why I love Joe Douglas? Do you understand? Can you just look at this for a second? When you tell me that Joe Douglas is not doing a good job because you're using his first ever draft as your backbone of your argument, when you're talking about multiple rookies of the year in the same draft class, when you're talking about 3-4 starters at a one draft class with numerous special teams guys and contributors and undrafted free agents contributing and even starting, like Bryce Huff he's not starting, but he's a specialized, edge rusher, man. He's look at Bam Knight. Look, Kenny Yeboah plays specials. He's on the 53, dude. He's an undrafted free agent. This is why. Because we let these guys go. We decided to let Braylon Edwards, Drew Coleman, Steve Weatherford, Sean Ellis, and Brad Smith go. Don't forget, right after that, we gave Jericho Cotchery away too. So that's because he hated it. He saw what was happening. He hated that we brought on Plaxico Burress and Derek Mason. He said, I want fucking out of here. And they granted it to him. They cut him. They let him go. He went to Pittsburgh, had 4 or 5 great years with Pittsburgh. So that's another one. So we let those guys go. Ellis, Smith, Bray, and we got Jordan White, Antonio Allen, Robert Griffin, and Terrence Ganaway. I don't even need to say anything else. I could drop the mic right now. I really could. Boom. That's the whole point, Superfan. He had 0 stats because, and that was the whole thing, that if he was on a team that passed more, maybe he would catch more. Maybe. Nobody's saying, oh, okay. But the truth is, they never threw the ball. So how good is he? Again, he had the measurables. So again, I can understand taking a shot. I do. I get it. Lots of people thought he was going to be something. But it's still a bad pick. You got to be the one to know that, Sal, what no-brainers? What are you talking about? Are you minimizing? I just showed you 10 years of Jets history. Are you minimizing and how easy it is to find guys? Is that what you're doing, Sal? Please tell me you're not doing that, buddy. Please tell me that that's not what you're doing. I just showed you how difficult it is. And even if it's not difficult for the Steelers or whoever else, it's difficult for us. The Jets didn't know how to do it. This is all new. The idea that Jets fans would look into the face of the GM that literally had a draft class of Sauce Gardner, Rookie of the Year, and Defensive Rookie of the Year. Garrett Wilson, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jermaine Johnson, not a Rookie of the Year, but still, if Mike McCagnon's rookie had a rookie season like Jermaine Johnson, we would all be saying he's primed and ready to go. It was a good rookie season. That's what we'd be saying. The only reason it doesn't look great is because he's next to Sauce and Wilson. Then you got Breece Hall without the injury. Come on. Then you got Jeremy Ruckert. We didn't see him, but we all know what the hell he's going to be. We all know it. Then you got Max Mitchell, who until the blood clot thing was starting for us and doing well. And then you got fucking Michael Clemens, dude. Let's look at the 2013 draft, for God's sakes. For another example. Here we go. So we traded Darrelle Revis. What is this? Here we go. We traded Darrelle Revis. We got the 9th overall pick, and then we do this. We take the always injured D. Milliner out of Alabama. That's what we did. And then we needed a wide receiver like nobody's business, and Rex Ryan takes yet another defensive tackle, Sheldon Richardson. Ended up getting Rookie of the Year, and he was a good player, man. He kind of, the whole thing with Brandon Marshall and all that shit. Todd Bowles couldn't control his team, dude. It's that simple. Mike McCagnon brought in a bunch of punks, and Todd Bowles had no idea how to control it. We ended up having to trade Sheldon Richardson, and he's been a journeyman. Second round, great pick. Geno Smith was a beautiful pick in the second round. Brian Winters, another good pick. That's a smart pick. He was a good player, and it was a good pick. Ode Ibushi, man, UVA. He was another good pick, and he played well too. William Campbell, not so much. Tommy Bohannon, he hung around as a fullback for a while. But this was actually, I would say this was a decent draft. This is Idzik's first. But the thing is, this was a ridiculously bad pick. Ridiculously bad. Now, Geno didn't work out, but it was a good pick. It made sense. And he was considered the number one quarterback in the draft. Even though the Bills took E.J. Manuel first, Geno Smith was the guy. Everybody thought he was going to be a first. Remember how pissed he was when he didn't get drafted in the first round? Remember that? He almost went home. And then the Jets called him and said, hey, don't go anywhere. If you're on the board when we pick, we're taking you. So just stick around. Yeah, so I don't know, man. That's considered a good draft. Oday Abushi. I like the Abushi, man. Yeah, but Andrew Schnatter, let me tell you, it's more than that. Do you remember Sean Ellis's last game? Excuse me. Sean Ellis's last game against the Patriots, the last game that the Jets won in that big game. Do you remember what he did in that game? You want to call him old? He had 3 sacks, dude. 3 sacks on Tom Brady, who's never sacked. I think one might have been a fumble, too. And he was on the Jets for 11 years at that point. It was 10 or 11 years. He was still a good player. He had 3 sacks in the last game against him. He wasn't falling off a cliff. You honor that, dude. He was a fucking leader. We took a team that went to 2 AFC championship games. And because somebody's a little, again, 3 sacks. And he had a great year that year. He was a key cog. Sure, he's old. Maybe he's not. Maybe he doesn't start. Maybe you rotate him in and you kind of phase him out. He literally said the Jets never gave him a real offer. Brad Smith said the same thing. He said they never even called me. That's the thing. It's bigger than that, Andrew. Sure, he went to the Patriots. He only played a year, and he was a part-time guy. But that's the Patriots, dude. That's the Super Bowl Patriots. They're stocked. They brought him on as a rotational guy. Why couldn't we do that? Why did we screw over he was the longest tenured Jet? That's what I mean. There's more to it. There's more to the story than just what you see on paper now. You look, oh, well, his stats were this. There's more to it. And what the Jets did in that offseason was horrible. And we're still not right, dude. That offseason was so bad that we are still trying to fix it. It's real. It's like when the fake spike thing. The fake spike was such a big play, so demoralizing to us. It was bigger than losing that game and getting knocked out of first place. Remember, we were in first place. It was bigger than that one game, that one touchdown. We literally didn't win another game that whole year. Okay, a worse collapse than this year. And we only won 4 games in the next 2 years. That fake spike knocked our head right off our body. It took us 3 years to get back on our feet. The 2011 offseason set us back so far that we are still, Joe Douglas is the first guy to get our head above water. That's it. I don't even understand how people can't see this. Arizona Jet, look at you. Thank you, buddy. As Jets fans, I could be a better GM than Joe. I know, it's funny. I'm really hoping Joe Douglas is down here, dude. I would love to get 5 minutes with him. I would. I have great questions. I have great questions, always ready for Joe Douglas. He could sit right down next to me right now, and I'd have one of the most enthralling interviews you've ever seen. Just telling you. But you know what's funny? I mean, look, I even think I could be. I know I could have been a better GM than many of the GMs we've had. It's not even a question in my brain. But Joe Douglas is a very, very good GM, dude. Very good. People are fucking ridiculous. And that's not to say you have to love everything. I'm not saying that. Yeah, Rob says, Johnny, remember Johnny Mitchell? He lost his marbles on us, man. Then Parcells gave him a shot to come back. Remember that? We had Kyle Brady and somebody else. And then Parcells said, yeah, you can come on back. You can let him come back and try out. And he played a couple, I think, of training camp, and he just quit. He just decided, I don't want it. Parcells' practices were too hard. Yeah, he was dub bust. Paris says Blair Thomas was a horrible pick. You know what made that one worse, Paris? Was that Rodney Hampton, Thurman Thomas, Emmett Smith all went after him in the same draft. That's what made it even worse. Boo, boo. Boop, doop, boop, doop, doop, doodly, doodly, doop, doo. Yeah, Mr. That's a great point, right? He's actually still here. I don't know if he's starting, though. Is he starting? Where is he these days? Let me see. Oh, he's with the Rams. Yeah. He's on the Rams. Nice long career for Ibushi. Interesting. I'd say that's a good pick, right? He was good for us too. But like sometimes, like, you know, Jets fans are funny, man. Like it takes guys a minute to get going. Like there have been so many guys, particularly on the offensive line, that they take two defensive line, they take 2 or 3 years to get going. We want to cut them. Like who was the guy? He went down to the Saints for years. He was their center, I think, for years. What the hell was his name? Let me try. I forget his name. Who's the center? I think he was a center. What the hell was his name? I can't remember his name. But let me tell you something. Jonathan Goodwin. There it is. Jonathan Goodwin. Remember him? Jets fans hated him. Not everybody, of course, but I remember it. I was on the message boards, guys. Hold on. I'm going to try to get, I just want to see real quick. All right. Jonathan Goodwin played with the Jets for 4 years. Okay. He was okay. He was getting better. He was okay. Played with the Jets for 4 years. Jets fans couldn't wait to get rid of him. Okay. Couldn't wait to get rid of him. He ended up going to the Saints. Played 1-2. He played guard and center. He was a Pro Bowl center. Only 1 year though, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years for New Orleans, 3 years for San Francisco, and then another year with New Orleans. So he played 9 more years at a high starting caliber level for good teams. Jets fans didn't want him. We hated him. I'm telling you, I remember arguing with people like, why do you hate? Why? He's a fucking turnstile, blah, 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 blah. It's crazy, man. Yeah, and that's a huge point, super fan. The thing is, at that point, if I remember correctly, offensive line was kind of the position we needed too, though. You know what I mean? Like he was a good pick, Brian Winters. But you're right, Keenan Allen being right there, and Teron Armstead, right. Well, Armstead you could have got, but I think it might have been interior. Forgive me. I'm certainly not trying to give them a pass. That's the other thing too. Like, again, when you talk about the whole story, it's not just who they took, it's who they didn't for this player. Let's look at McCagnon's first draft. This is really frustrating. Are you guys ready? All right. Okay. So, oh, you know what? I want to do it this way. Right. Okay. Let's do it this way so you can see who he passed on. This draft for me was one of the most frustrating drafts to watch. I was miserable during this draft. Now, number one, to be clear, at the first round pick, while I didn't like Leonard Williams as our pick, I understood why. He was considered, and I quote, the consensus best player in the draft. Okay, fine. And he slid to 6th. What I really wanted was this guy, Brandon Scherf. And when they took him, I expected them to take Leonard Williams and us to take Scherf. What we ended up, I wanted Kevin White or Vic Beasley. These were the guys. It was those 3 guys. That's who I wanted here. All right. So to be fair, but okay, so let's see what the Jets do here. So we, could have gotten some, but Leo was a good pick. Look at Lakin Tomlinson there. He is. He's doing great for us. Okay, this was terrible. Okay. Devin Smith. I hated this pick from the second it happened. All right. Now, Dorial Greenbean, I was totally fine. I actually liked him a whole bunch. Who else did I like? Eric Kendricks, maybe. Mitch Morse was a guy. I liked Jaquiski Tart that I was really liking. I liked Mitch Morse. Okay. Jake Fisher, another one I really liked. I'd have been so happy with him there. Now, I did want a receiver, but I didn't like anybody. I wanted Jalen Strong. I know, you know what I really wanted in this draft was this guy right here. I'll show you. Let me see. Wait a minute. And there was I'll show you. Maybe that was a different draft. Anyway, Tyler Lockett. So, all right, the 3rd round. Let me look at our 3rd round. So, okay, sorry. So, Devin Smith, I thought, was a huge whiff, and it ended up being a whiff. But I was like, I couldn't even understand why we took him. I just didn't like him at all. Jets Lorenzo Malden. Okay. Nobody even knew the hell he was. Considered by a lot of people to be like a 5th. And he wasn't on my radar. He just wasn't. Now, granted, I wasn't into it like I am today, but I still was paying attention. And I was like, Lorenzo Malden. Who the hell is that? Now, I liked the idea that he was maybe an edge rusher, but he wasn't. We were trying to make him one. Trey Flowers, right? Darrell Williams, Jamison Crowder, Justin Hardy. There's just some guys, man. But it's like the ability to identify some of these guys. Bryce Petty. Now, don't forget, we traded up for Bryce Petty. Mike, let me see. Wait, all right. So we traded. So we gave from 104 to 103. So we traded up. We gave him a 7th round pick to move up one spot. Why? He did that in the next draft too. He did that shit all the time. Why? For Bryce Petty. Okay. Jarvis Harrison, weak. Look who's here. I mean, there's just so many guys, man. It's crazy. Even in this, see, back here, you're looking for special teamers, man. You're looking for guys that can, that can develop, contribute on special teams, maybe get into the rotation, be backups, and then every now and then you grab some starters. Joe Douglas is crushing that. Look at Quandre Diggs back here. All right. So anyway. Austin says he thinks of Keenan Allen every time. I know. But again, you got to remember, Geno Smith was a good pick. Although we still did have Mark Sanchez. But everybody kind of knew he was kind of done. He wasn't done, but we knew the Jets were kind of ready to move on from him. Yeah, Jets 8:30. I wish that was the case. I'm not even in the right terminal right now. Atlanta's huge. I have to go over like 6 more. I feel all the way to the other end of the airport. I'm over here because it's quiet. Yep. It's 1 a.m. I probably should try to sleep. Who would you have drafted at 4, 35 and 38 last year? Oh, well, it's interesting because I want to make sure that I'm clear. I've said it a bunch this year. I'm very happy with what the Jets did, obviously, right? I'm very happy. And I always liked the players. But if we would just stood pat last year, who I would have taken looked like this. I would have taken Kayvon Thibodeau, Devin Lloyd, George Pickens, and Breece Hall. That's who I would have taken. And then in the third, depending on what I did in the, in free agency and everything, well, no, because I wouldn't have taken a tight end there. But I might have taken a tight end in the third, maybe, depending on if I brought on Conklin and Uzoma, I wouldn't have used a third on a tight end. I would have waited till the 4th or 5th. There were still tight ends there that I liked. But yeah, my draft last year, if everything was the way that it was, without the trade up in the third, to the third first round pick and all that, I would have gotten Kayvon Thibodeau, Devin Lloyd, George Pickens, and Breece Hall. That's who I would have gotten. Not bad, right? Again, Thibodeau, is kind of showing that he's a little bit of an asshole. And I think that had a lot to do with why the Jets didn't draft him, quite frankly. But let's be clear. All those guys, I don't know if George Pickens was. I think he was. Let's take a look at the all-rookie team. Right. All right, let me do this. Hold on. Hold on. Let's see. So it's funny when I say stuff like that, people will say there's probably a comment in there right now. That's why you're not the GM or something like that. There's probably at least one comment in there that says that. Maybe not, but usually there is. So because this draft is, and honest to God, I think Joe Douglas did a better job than I would have this year, but that's not always the case. All right. Matter of fact, it's significantly less than the case, more years than not. But to be clear, my draft would have been very strong as well. So, all right, remember, I fucking hate the Athletic. I hate the Athletic. Fuck you. Fucking paying for your bullshit. Fuck you. That's how I feel. Okay, so look, you got Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Brock Purdy, right? So clearly, now, I loved Garrett Wilson, but again, I was okay with I thought the wide receivers were so deep in this class that I could have gotten one in the second round, and I would have. I would have gotten George Pickens. So, but I'm very happy with Garrett, and I think Garrett Wilson is better than George Pickens. I'm very happy with him, but it's okay. Got Tyler Algier. I'm going to tell you right now, that would have been Breece Hall. So wide receiver Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Those are the receivers. So George Pickens did not make it. And there's Linderbaum, right? We all love these guys. Remember Tyler Smith, Zion Johnson. Remember him? The Senior Bowl. We all loved him. We all loved him too. So Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, Aiden Hutchinson, right? Well, look, there's Thibodeau, right? Kyle Hamilton, remember my love for him? Jalen Petrie, oh, wow, interesting. I didn't know he made it. Jaquan Brisker. So you see, man, it's like, and Devin Lloyd is another one. Like, dude, he's a baller, man, So it's like, it doesn't mean, that, again, it's like the thing before, like with losers. It's like we can both want and choose a different guy and both hit. And we can both be wrong too. But again, I'm very happy. I'm glad it's Sauce over Thibodeau. I'm glad it's Garrett Wilson over Devin Lloyd. And even though Breece Hall got injured, I still got tons of faith in him. And I'm glad it's him. I am. I wish he wasn't hurt. You know what I mean? Did I know scout? I'm not sure what that means, Jim. The athletic part of scout. I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure. So maybe the answer would just be no. And look, the athletic's fine. I just don't like running into paywalls. That's all that was. Don't make it bigger than it is, everybody. I'm just, I know, right? John Amarella. If JD was our GM in 2013, he would have got his second, a fourth, and his sixth for Sanchez. Totally, man. Why not? He got it for Sammy. What's up, Money Mitch? Yeah, this is very, very true. Mr. Green Jeans. Rumors were swirling in Houston that McCagnon was about to be fired and then hired by the Jets to be the top dog. I told my son after his first pressure, this guy is a putz. That is very true. And not only was he, it's like, think about it. He was going to be fired. I think he was like director of scouting. Like he wasn't even like the assistant GM or something like that. He got fired. And then Casserly, his good friend, hired him for like a 2-level jump promotion. 2 levels. He never should have been there. And I want to make sure I'm clear. I supported him. I didn't love the hiring, but I didn't like that the Jets hired the coach before the GM. I thought that was fucking ridiculous. I hated it. And then when they brought him on, even though we had fun in 2015 and he got executive of the year and we were 10-6, and that was fun. But right around the end of the next year, it was like, in my mind, I thought Todd Bowles was the bigger problem. I thought Mike McCagnon was trying to get Todd Bowles the players he wanted, and I was wrong. When Todd Bowles was fired and McCagnon got his first draft without Todd Bowles, I told everybody it's going to be the best draft he's ever had. That's what I said. I said, you watch. You watch. He's not being held back by Bowles. It was, I couldn't believe the draft, how bad it was. I was like stunned. I mean, Quinnen, now again, I love Quinnen. I'm happy he's here now, but that was totally not the pick then. You know what I mean? The word on the street was we had a nice trade offer back. So we could have went back 7, 8, 9 picks to Washington, who wanted to jump up for Haskins. We could have gotten a second and a fourth or something like that. But Mike McCagnon didn't do it because he traded more to move up less spots last year. So he couldn't do that because in his head, he would have been looked at as a loser. You can't look at it like that. You can't. So what? So in your draft, there were 4 quarterbacks up there. You got to pay more. But he couldn't do it. That's why, if you guys remember, when he turned down that trade, there was a trade offer on the table with, I believe it was Washington. When he turned down the trade and then took a defensive tackle, one position we did not need when we had so many needs, Adam Gase stood up and walked out of the draft room. Now, he's a complete asshole for doing that. You're a child, you petulant little baby. But he did it. That's how bad it was. How stupid of a move it was. Who did he take next? It was Quinnen, Ja'Kai Polite. Unbelievable, dude. Ja'Kai Polite. And we didn't have a second. So our next pick, we took Quinnen, then Ja'Kai. Right? Who was next? Our fourth rounder. Oh, no, we had 2/3. So Chuma Edoga, which was a good pick. But he was like the one offensive lineman. I was like, nah, why him? But it was a decent pick. At least it was finally an offensive lineman. But then he got Trayvon Wesco in the 4th, Trenton Cannon in the 5th, I think it was. Something like that. Maybe that was the other one. Hold on, I got to look now. Hold on. Okay, who was it? Chuma Edoga. Yeah, Trayvon Wesco. Okay, I had it right up to there. Let's see. All right. Blake Cashman. Oh, my God. Dude, look at this. So this was the draft. Now, obviously, Quinnen's a stud, right? But again, it was a position we did not need. We just used the top 6 pick on Leo a couple of years earlier. So then he goes and takes Ja'Kai Polite, who everybody took off their draft boards because he was so terrible at the combine. Like he got fat and lazy and terrible interviews. Everybody said, I can't even draft this guy. Mike McCagnon does it. 3rd round, Chuma Edoga. Okay, fine. 4th round, Trayvon Wesco. Okay, fine. 5th round, he takes the always injured Blake Cashman, linebacker. Then he takes the always injured Blesson Austin. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was miserable during that whole draft. 3 days of misery. I watched it. Yeah. Right? Arizona Jet. It's like we forgot about that. Like we can both be right. But are you righter than me? Do you have to be righter? We forget. Like it's not always so black and white. It's not so cut and dry. It actually sucks when it is. It's better to be real, All right, guys, I'm getting tired. I got to go to bed. And by bed, I mean, where is it? Here's my blanket. And here's let's see what's in here first. This is the Delta overnight package. Let's see. One of them. Oh, that's body wash. So that's soap. This is body lotion. And this is deodorant. Okay, that's nice. Little chapstick. All Dove. Little shaving kit. Dude, I've never heard it put like this before, but cotton buds. You ever have a cotton bud? Little cleansing wipe. A comb. That's neat. Got a little comb here. And what's this? And a toothbrush. Nice. Dental kit. So there's probably toothpaste in there too. Not bad. Not a bad little pack. And they gave me meal vouchers too. So that's helpful, right? $15 tonight, $15 tomorrow. Well, this was fun. You guys got me through about almost 2 hours. Not bad. Not bad. See, but Arizona Jet, it wasn't a bad owner move. Woody did a very good owner move that year. What he did was he hired 2 former successful general managers, Casserly and Ron Wolf, together. He gave them money to show him how to do it. Like, pick the guy, get me the right guy. And instead of doing the right thing, Charlie Casserly went out and hired his friend. That's what happened. And they hired the coach before. Like, you got to hire the GM and then sit down and talk about it and get his guy in here. Dude, they started off like that. Like, when McCagnon got here, Bowles was already here. They met when they were in their office. It's fucking ridiculous. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out at the Atlanta airport after our Jets Fest. I'm glad that we got to do this. And it helped me a great deal. I want to thank you guys. Hey, Duncan. Good morning, buddy. But I'm out of here. So I know it is Wesley. I feel that was like, I was like, okay, it made me feel a little bit better. $15 for breakfast is going to be fine. You know what I mean? Everything. It's in an airport, so everything's expensive. It's going to be like, $12 for a little breakfast burrito or something. But, so, all right, guys, listen, thank you for hanging out. I hope you all have a good night. I'll be at the Senior Bowl tomorrow at some point, and I'll give you guys some goodies. But until then, have a great night, everybody. I'll see you, okay? Be safe.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
He's gonna be